Later they said me it was the Buddha. And I told, about, so the is the high creature, she recalls. Currently, 9 year on, she chants Buddhism mantras of Ram every day near hundreds of some family at the Nozipho Theranos Center in southern Swaziland. Ages 3 to 19, the family go to the center as orphans or of impoverished families. They will keep in information how includes Kung Fu, Buddhist and China. Based by a Taiwan Buddhism friar in 2011, the Nozipho Center is one of multiple tactful and culture bonds how communicate Taiwan and the realm of Swaziland, a diminutive nation sandwiched among Mozambique and southward Africa. Following Taiwan and Swaziland became friends, he's been really helpful for us. Guys in Swaziland can now go to high school, says Mpapane in Crispy Tangerine. But the strange couple relation, that stretches behind 50 years, is quick proper thing of an abnormality in Africa and in another place in the planet, as countries choose to cut off relations in Taiwan and instead of hammer tactful bonds in its policy competing, China. Swaziland is the nation how China fair cannot somersault. Recognition, a turncoat China and Taiwan separate in 1949 next the communistic win in a civilian war how saw the nationalists run to the aisle. The two sides include been regulated individually always with. For many decades, China has been betrothed in Taiwan in an away again on again tactful fight through the ball. Each nation how establishes bonds in China, results in a losing for Taiwan. He's an each or selection, or which officials in Beijing urge the a China concept. In inducements and deals, loans and intensive tactful blood pressure Beijing has selected off one African nation at a period. And China is winner. On May 24, China convinced Burkina Faso to set official bonds in China, outgoing Swaziland, that is formally named as the realm of Eswatini, as the recent left Taiwan delay through the whole mainland. But questions stay as to how much longer. The recent envoy, if the just Taiwan envoy leftward in Africa feels any of how blood pressure, he surely doesn't shaw it. Each overnight I drop sleeping in fair one minimum. How convenient I am as far as our duplex relation is worried, says Thomas Chen. Chen is meeting in a admission room of the legation of the Republic of China, as Taiwan is formally named, in Center Mpapane. The behalf one would wrath officials of the human beings' Republic of China. Chen has consumable a length carrier in a tactful dusk area, work for nearly governmental organizations in the joint state love the Taipei World and Culture Office space, non-embassies how act as embassies. The is the just location I include been named Its Excellency, he says in an mischievous smiling. Taiwan conducted the relation really severely. In April, CEO Tsai Ing-wen, the lead of Taiwan, traversed to the diminutive realm for an informal trip. She complains how China is betrothed in buck diplomacy to convince countries to changing loyalty. But in Swaziland, Taiwan has distribution dollar of their own. A marked new clinic is creature built on a mound over the legation, village electrification is led by Taiwan interests, and Swazi students routinely get scholarships to research in Taiwan. Which do they get in back? Official acceptance is really essential. If you wish to be an independent country at international level, you requirement he, says Chen. But how does a nation in a people of about 1.4 million survive the woo of a gigantic of 1.4 trillion human beings? Certainly, Beijing has more profound pockets rather than Taipei. The reply is over Chen's arm as he conducted telephone call in his office space at the legation over a pine tree desktop. He's a silvery-edged picture of Tsar Mswati III, the total king of Swaziland. I can query the auditorium in his greatness at any period, at his comfort, says Chen. He's nice to be the Tsar. Taiwan's relation in Swaziland is, substantially, in one person. He's a hot winter day and Tsar Mswati is due to come at the discovery of a care store installation, constructed and financed by Taiwan. As in largest events, the Tsar arrives in a reactive black Maybach. In a nation wherever almost 2/3 of the people dwell under the poverty reduction link, the part-million-dollar car has inflicted him significant debate, so he has prohibited the regional clique of shooting him within. The Tsar stares out of the Maybach to the audio of command singers. Order down there, on his conventional red swazi dress, is the immediately identifiable banner of Taiwan. So distant, Tsar Miswati has traversed to Taiwan on 16 formal trips. Recent 1 week he traversed to the Taiwan Equity of Taipei on his 17th. And he traversed in styling. The identical Taiwan business house, the clinic in Mpapane constructed the realm a new aeroport. The Tsar mentioned the aeroport following oneself. Tsar Miswati 3 World Aeroport is in indifferently village portion of East Swaziland on in time of the equity, the lane is length quite for one of the planet's greatest private plane. Tsar Miswati purchased the bus 1340-400 of China Airlines, Taiwan's main transporter, for millions and had it repaired in Hamburg. He took the whites and blue, 4-persons engined jet and an surround of about 80 human beings on its inauguration straight flying to Taipei on Thursday. Actual politic in spite the aid and economical aid stipulated by the Taiwan by the government, Swaziland's opposition parties claim how the Tsar manipulates the bonds for his own gain. I believe the relation among the Taiwan and Tsar Miswati is really problematical. And as well, personality serving, says Wandil Dludlu, an opposition lead for the Human Beings' Joint More Democratic Motion, PUDEMO. PUDEMO and some opposition and pro-fee democracy groups are prohibited in Swaziland by the repression of terror instrument. The is profound seated relation how benefits just the Tsar and the King household, he says. In the mountain range over Mbabane, in townships Love Misunduza, down there is boiling indignation versus the Tsar and his Taiwan deals. And a disappointment at the absence of opportunities there. But largest human beings are too frightened to criticize the Tsar by behalf. Following to the mud tilt wherever several of Swaziland's top football players experience, Kevin sits following to a little spaza store marketing shavings and candies. He says he hasn't been capable to use his IT extent to get appropriate work. Swaziland is a nice nation for human beings who do not aware it. We can't vote ourselves out down there. If you can't be heard you are fair worthless, he says. If Taiwan, a lively democratic state for more than rather than 20 years, has any reservations support Tsar Miswati, and total king, it keeps it to himself. BFFS. The Taiwan envoy may sleeping so at overnight, but he might wish to hold one eye outdoor. The chances of China creation bonds there too much, is barely an overseas concept. Swaziland's operating main secretary Gender Dlamini, while requested, says he wouldn't deny a telephone urge of China's overseas ministry. Could the superstate include and discovery there too much? It is quite hard to rapidly rotate versus Taiwan, but perhaps for growth need we may believe he, says Dlamini, in his small office space in an old colonialist house close the Taiwan legation. Growth is dynamical and Swaziland doesn't dwell in insulation. China newly incorporated $60 trillion in aid in Africa. And the is a large play how Beijing wants to gain. But Dlamini rapidly clarifies. How a rests in the Tsar, he says.